Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for this outstanding session on a deep dive into B2B marketing analytics. My name is Richard Bernstein. I am with Full Circle Insights. We are a native ISV partner for Advanced B2B Marketing Analytics. Before we start, forward-looking statement. The opposite of what Salesforce says. If you like what you see here today, you may make a purchasing decision. You can come visit us in the expo. You can visit our partner Spring ML at the expo. We have postcards around here afterwards, which are in my bag. And with that, I'm going to introduce you to two of my favorite customers, Ruben Varela and Melanie Seck of Veracode.
Thank you, Richard. So let me tell you a little bit about Veracode, why Melanie pulls up our dashboard. First thing, good news, there's no PowerPoint. That was the last PowerPoint slide that you saw. You are not going to see any other PowerPoint on this presentation. What we're going to do today, it's actually a full demo using case scenarios of our day-to-day activities and how we solve those scenarios with this information. Let me take a minute to tell you about Veracode. If you drive cars, if you have a car, you know that you cannot have a great car if your brakes don't work. Veracode believes that software is the same thing. There's no way you can have secure software, great software, if you don't have secure software. So you absolutely need to be secure in order to make great software. If you want our help making great software, making your software secure, come and visit us at veracode.com, give us a call, we'll be happy to help. The two scenarios that we're going to work today, the first one is about, we're all in planning mode. We are preparing for next year, and there are questions that we get from our executives. So, typical questions, marketing, what are you doing with the money that I'm giving you? What is the ROI that you are getting? And can you tell me how are you going to maximize that ROI? How are you going to make sure that next year investments are used even better than this year? So Melanie, can you help us answer those questions?
Sure. There's many ways to answer those questions. So first I'm going to jump into our campaign attribution dashboard, which is in Einstein Analytics. And this dashboard we look at to measure marketing's contribution to pipeline and revenue. By looking at the impact and results, we can transform marketing from a cost center to a revenue center, and having that new power helps us answer Ruben's questions in a really easy fashion. So, in the case of Veracode, we look at attribution in three different ways. So the first model here is a primary contact direct attribution. Model 2 is a model that's looking at an opportunity even spread, so all of the contacts on an opportunity. And then model 3, my favorite, is an account-based model. So that is looking at all of the contacts and all of the leads on the account. Richard, can you tell us how we get that great data and information?
Sure can, Melanie. Thanks so much. So basically, with Full Circle, you are able to configure as many attribution models as you want natively in Salesforce for whatever your hypotheses are. What we allow you to do is run 3 models concurrently at any one time for any type of cohort analysis you might want to do. Now, as Melanie mentioned, one of the great things about our attribution modeling is here on Model 3, she mentioned is at the account level. So we're looking at all of the contacts on your account and all of the leads that we've matched to your account. So you're not limited to the contacts role, which means you're not limited to your salespeople effectively updating the contact role. So as a marketer, you get to track your performance against all campaigns that people have touched that can lead to revenue, no matter who they are, be a lead or a contact on the opportunity or not. And back to you, Melanie.
Great. So now I'm going to walk you through how I'm going to figure out how to answer Ruben's questions. So for the first question, it looks like marketing is influencing about $128 million in opportunities generated, and that's just from our investments this year. And that's a difference you can see from Model 1, we were generating, it looks like 69 million, so almost double it and get to the nearly 129 million. So that's pipeline. And then we can also look at opportunities won. And this will tell us how much influence marketing has on closed won, so our bookings this year based on the investments we made this year. So that looks like marketing has influenced $19 million of our bookings this year. If we want to get a deeper look at those closed ones, we can drill down or scroll down to these tables, which are associated with each model, and see the conversion rates on our closed deals are one velocity, so how long it took to get opportunity created to close, and then also the average deal size based on each of the models. Now, Ruben, to answer your second question, I'm going to look at the toggles. And at Veracode, we look at different segmentations, and we identify 4 as our major ones for different campaign segments. So I can look at programs and see which ones have generated the most or performed the highest, so highest performing at the top down to the bottom. I can do this for content. I can do this for publisher and campaign type. So to me, it looks like our website is number 1, always top performer. And also trade shows and events are also doing pretty well at the top. So definitely want to keep our dollars there and focus on those for some spend.
Okay, but Melanie, can you go back into the generation? So let me show you something very interesting here. If we look at Model 1, that is the traditional way that marketing looks at contribution, we can see that content syndication is somewhere down in the middle. So you would say, hey, we don't get a lot of content syndication. There's maybe not a lot of value in putting some dollars there. Now let's look at Model 3. Content syndication is at the very top. So what we can infer from that information is that there's people in the companies that are looking at our content, but maybe they are not associated with the opportunity. So actually, content syndication is bringing a lot of value into a marketing, into a sales organization, giving content to everybody that it's actually an influencer on the opportunity, but that they may not be directly in the opportunity. Given this information, I would make a very different decision, and I would say, let's keep putting money on content syndication because we want those influencers to know about our products and what we're doing. Okay? Let's move now to our second use case. So in this one, I'm going to start by playing the role of a sales rep. So Melanie, can you open my global dashboard?
Sure.
Sales leadership. This is what our sales leadership uses to look at where they're sitting against the pipeline, against their goals. And I'm going to show you right here, this section over here allows me to see how much weighted pipeline I have. So based on what I have and the stage of the opportunity, I can clearly see that I don't have enough pipeline to reach my goals. I'm going to start to drill down into my different territories to figure it out, okay, which territories have problems and which ones are okay. So if we go actually to Enterprise East, I can see that the Enterprise East team is actually on a little bit more of a pickle with even less pipeline than what is expected. So what do sales always do when they don't have enough pipeline? They pick up the phone, they call marketing, and they say, hey, how can you help me get more pipeline? So Melanie, if you are marketing, can you please get us more pipeline?
Sure, I'll see what I can do. So I'm going to jump into our inquiry to revenue funnel, or dashboard. And this dashboard is kind of a health check of our marketing and sales funnel. We can watch at any time our sales leads and how they're flowing through the sales funnel, and at any given moment we can see how we are tracking against goals. So to just understand this dashboard, we can see these gauges. Everything filling up these gauges are actuals. We can see the current goals, so where we should be as of today for this given time period. I've selected this quarter. We can see, based on our current rate, our current performance, where we will be projected at the end of quarter and projected attainment. So it looks like only 62% so far at the top. And then we can see our overall goal. So to answer Ruben's question, I'm going to drill down into Enterprise East. And you'll notice a theme throughout all of our dashboards is we have the same, at least, territory filters on all of them. So our highest level, it's like our global zone, down to the team, down to the territory. So I'm going to drill down to Enterprise East. And to start off my investigation, I'm going to scroll down to the opportunities section. Oh, a little too far. And check out the different sources. So let me see how sales is doing for their opportunities. Looks like they're just about right on goal, so that's not too bad. And then I get to the BDRs, and for net new opportunities, they've only generated 2, and they're supposed to have generated 21 as of today. So that's a problem. That's where I can tell that the conversion's okay, I think, because sales is able to convert from marketing leads, but something's going on with the BDR team, and that will lead me to talk with the BDR manager to get a status on what's happening there. So usually it's not just one problem, so I'm going to take another look. And I can see at the top of the funnel, we're clearly low on volume. And to solve that, I reach out to the demand team, who will come up with a plan and solve that issue. So then with the demand team, I jump into the campaign funnel effectiveness dashboard. Oh, there we go. And this dashboard is what we look at to see the funnel performance of all of our campaigns. We can see, for any given campaign, we can see the volume, so the count, how many inquiries, how many high score leads, any stage of the funnel, really. This is the Veracode funnel. We can also see the conversion rates, how it converted from an inquiry to a high score lead, and also the velocity, something we never were able to do, which is, we love it, is to see how long it takes to get from any given stage to the next. So high score lead to accepted, for example. So to get back to Ruben's question about how do we solve for that Enterprise East pipeline, I'm again going to drill down to Enterprise East. And since it's an urgent request, the demand teams identified which campaign types that they can execute on or ramp up in a fast manner. So they've identified content syndication, email, pay-per-click, and SEM. And while this, could you explain how we're getting all this really great information into our dash?
Sure can. Thanks, Melanie.
Sure.
So with Full Circle Insights, everybody is unique. Every funnel is unique. With your nomenclature, the number of funnel stages you have, your handoffs between marketing and sales. So this is a unique funnel for Veracode that we developed for them inside of their Sales Cloud instance. For every customer that we implement, we develop their own custom funnel with their own custom funnel stages in there. And we're able to track every campaign touch across leads and contacts, as I mentioned earlier, with cross-object reporting. So this funnel is holistic for leads and contacts in one report, so you don't lose any visibility. We're tracking every campaign touch. We're also tracking those funnel stage attainments. So as someone hits a marketing qualified lead threshold, a lead score threshold, we'll flag them now as an MQL. When sales turns them into an opportunity, we'll flag it as an opportunity, and that funnel stage attainment. We also date stamp that. So you have now the essence of time. So you can do things like velocity reporting, lead aging, or SLA compliance as well, all inside of Sales Cloud, and then pull it here into Einstein for this advanced analytic reporting. Mm-hmm. Back to you.
Sure. And that was a really great point that Richard brought up, is bringing in the contact information here. We found at Veracode it was only about 50% were our efforts hitting the funnel in terms of leads. So we were living this whole gap saying, okay, marketing's spending all these dollars and contributing this much in our funnel, which really was only half of what we were doing. So this helps us show everything. So back to the question at hand, Enterprise East, I've narrowed down to the Enterprise East team and the 4 campaign types. This will produce everything that demand needs to look at to analyze their campaigns. So down here in this table, I can select on any of the columns to sort highest to lowest, lowest to highest. If I do it for inquiries and get the higher performers, I can see that this top campaign has generated the most inquiries out of all of our 4 campaign types for Enterprise East. I can do it for any column, like I said. I'll look at high score lead to accepted. Let's click too many times, and can see which campaigns took the shortest amount of time to move from high score lead to accepted. So now that demand has everything they need to narrow down on their campaigns, they'll talk to content team and decide which, so now we know our campaigns we want to do, what assets do we want to populate those? So with the content team, they're going to look at our correlation dashboard. And this one's pretty fun and new. This dashboard is looking at the whole funnel and attribution, but it's helping us answer questions like which campaign type was most successful, which publisher. You can do this for any fields. Again, we stuck with the 4 segments that we like, or particularly look at Veracode, but I can select any toggle on the left and any toggle on the right. This is our development section. Oops, sorry. This is our development site, so some of the data is a little wonky, but programming campaign type, for example. So again, to go drill into Enterprise East, and the 4 campaign types. Pay-per-click and SEM. Did I get the 4 right? Okay. And just to explain what this Sankey chart is doing, I'm going to drill on campaign type and content because those are the 2 things we wanted to analyze. This is a Sankey chart. It's really cool. It's kind of new, a couple months ago to Einstein Analytics. But what this is doing is kind of correlating the data from the left to the right. So overall, it's doing that and producing the highest at the top. So content syndication is the highest of the campaign performer or the campaign type performers, then SEM, then email, and pay-per-click is so small I think I'd have to really zoom in to get it on this chart. But then within each of those elements on the left, you can see the flow to the right, to the content, and it's also ranked from highest to smallest. So most volume, you'll get a thicker bar, and it will be at the top, and then it will continue to decrease. So for this scenario, I can see for content syndication, policy pointers had the best performing asset, followed by Veracode integrations guide. So I think content's going to suggest those 2 if we're going with the content syndication type. And then for SEM, Gartner MQ is by far the best performer, so they're going to recommend the Gartner MQ for SEM. And just to give you a little more data, everything is populated down in this table so we can analyze all of those assets next to each other too. So with that, marketing has everything they need to generate successful campaigns to help build that sales pipeline. And for some closing statements, I know these dashboards look pretty complex, and that's kind of our motto at Veracode. If I was to build a dashboard to answer any single question or 2 questions, I'd have 1 million dashboards, and I don't have the resources to keep up with that. So for us, we use dashboards as tools to answer many questions.
So when we look at our dashboards, as Melanie pointed out earlier on, we have the same level of the ability to drill down at the same level of granularity for the entire company, an RVP that is looking at the data, going down to the level of an individual sales rep. And we not only do that for the sales organization, we do that in marketing. That way, sales and marketing can have an honest conversation of what's happening on a particular territory. And when they are problem solving for a particular territory, they also look at data that it's reflective of that territory. And they don't have to just assume the generic results of what's happening worldwide to try to solve something that is happening in the Northeast. So building that level of granularity is something that has also gave us a lot of insights. On my side, I wanted to thank you everybody for coming over here. Especially want to thank Jim Madison on our team that helped build a lot of this integration, getting Full Circle working and doing a lot of this work. I want to thank our partners, SpringML, that help us build a lot of the dashboards, and Full Circle that actually provides all the data behind the scenes. This is data. This is a game changer for us. Has totally transformed the way we do the business, and these 2 partners are definitely the best that we have ever worked with. So thank you very much, guys. Richard, do you want to close it out?
Anything else, Melanie?
No.
All right, yeah. So again, thanks both to you at Veracode and amazing partners and customers. So like I said earlier, if you want to learn more about Full Circle, we have a booth in the expo, or you can talk to the 2 guys in the bow ties that are here. We've got postcards with more information. SpringML has a booth in the 111 Minute Gallery, and if you want to learn more information, we have the postcards, or we have a scanner, or you can just talk to us now. And thanks again, everybody, and have a great Dreamforce.
Thank you.